Psychology of cat dreams. Do they dream about you? Your cat sleeps about 16 hours a day. That's more than half of its life. And while it's lying there, belly up, looking like a melted marshmallow on your couch, its brain is still working. The paws start twitching. The whiskers move on their own. Every now and then it lets out a tiny little meow, almost like a sigh. And you're sitting there watching, wondering, is it dreaming? And if it is it dreaming about you? Or does it not even show up in the dream? And your cat is just chasing some imaginary bird forever and ever? Stick around till the end of this video, because what scientists found out about cat sleep is way weirder and way sweeter than you think. I know it sounds silly to sit around thinking about cat dreams, but hear me out. There have been actual serious researchers with brain wave machines hooked up studying what happens inside a cat's head when it shuts down for the night. And the answer to that explains a bunch of weird stuff your cat does while it sleeps. That sudden jolt, that quiet little growl, that paw that throws a punch at absolutely nothing. Today I'm going to walk you through the science behind it, tell you about a pretty unsettling experiment done in France back in the 50s that basically proved cats really do dream. And at the end, I'll give you the most honest answer science has for the question every cat owner has asked themselves at 3 in the morning. Does my cat dream about me? Here's where it gets tricky, though. Cats can't talk. Your cat doesn't wake up, stretch, and say, hey, I dreamed you were giving me treats all night. So how exactly does science study something that only exists inside the head of an animal that doesn't speak English or Portuguese or any human language at all? There's a whole side of the internet that swears it knows exactly what cats dream about. You've seen those videos, cat sleeping, caption says he's dreaming he owns the house. And sure, that gets views, but that's a joke, not actual data. And then on the other side, you've got people who think animals can't dream at all, that dreaming is some special thing only complex human brains can do. Based on everything we know now, both sides are wrong. The real answer sits right in the middle, and it's way more interesting than any meme. For a long time, scientists didn't really want to touch this topic. It sounded like something a guy who watches too many documentaries would make up. But then in 1959, a French neuroscientist named Michel Jouvet, who later became known as basically the father of modern sleep research, did something that today probably no ethics board on the planet would approve. He found a tiny part of the brain called the pons, which basically works like a parking brake. When you enter REM sleep, the stage where most dreaming happens, that pons locks down your muscles. That's why you don't actually kick the blankets off or punch your pillow when you're having a nightmare. Your body shuts off, but your brain keeps running full speed. Jouvet had the idea to disable that parking brake in some cats by making a very specific lesion in that part of the brain, removing the lock that keeps the body from moving during REM sleep. And what happened next was jaw-dropping. When those cats hit the REM stage, instead of lying there quietly dreaming like normal, they started acting the dream out. They lifted their heads, arched their backs, crouched down low like they were about to pounce, swiped at the air, growled at nothing, and in some cases looked like they were chasing an invisible mouse around the corner of the room. Their eyes stayed closed the entire time. They were, without question, asleep, but their bodies were acting out in real time what was probably the actual content of their dream. Now, before you get any ideas about trying this at home, don't. First, because it's brain surgery. Second, because it's cruel. And third, because we already have a much kinder version of the same proof in regular house cats. No need to touch anyone's skull. Have you ever watched your cat sleep and seen a little paw twitch fast, like it's running inside the dream? Or the nose starts wiggling, the whiskers go back and forth like it's sniffing something that only exists in its head? That's called myoclonus. And it happens because even when the pons is doing its job properly, every once in a while a tiny bit of movement leaks through. It's like the body can't hold it in 100%. A lot of vets and animal behavior researchers agree that these little twitches during REM sleep are most likely the motor leftovers of mental activity happening at the same time. In other words, your cat is processing something. The only question left is what? And here's a fun detail. the exact thing Juvit caused on purpose in his lab sometimes happens naturally. No surgery involved, mostly in older cats. It even has a name, REM sleep behavior disorder, and it exists in humans too, usually in older people as well. What happens is that, for some neurological reason, that parking brake in the ponds starts failing on its own over time. And owners report stuff like the cat that's never once caused trouble at night suddenly starts sitting up out of nowhere mid-sleep, taking a few wobbly steps, meowing at a wall, then dropping right back to sleep like nothing happened. If this is happening with your cat a lot, it's worth a vet visit just to rule out other causes. But the point is this real-life version happening in an actual flesh and blood cat with zero forced experiments shows the exact same thing Juvit showed back in the 50s. When the brake fails, the body starts acting out the dream. That's not a coincidence. That's the brain accidentally showing you what it's working through. To really understand the size of this, you need to know how cat sleep works overall. An adult cat sleeps on average between 12 and 16 hours a day. Kittens and senior cats sleep even more, some clocking up to 20 hours out cold. But out of all that time, most of it is light sleep, that classic cat napping with one eye basically open, where it looks totally checked out, but the second you crack open a bag of treats across the house, it's awake instantly, like it's got a motion sensor wired straight to its stomach. REM sleep, the deep stage where the real dreaming happens, takes up a much smaller slice, roughly similar in proportion to what happens in humans. And during that stage, a cat's brain lights up with electrical activity almost identical to when it's awake and hunting. Scientists call this the REM paradox. The body is completely shut down, but the brain is just as active as during the day. And that lines up perfectly with the theory that, during this stage, the cat is reliving something it experienced. And this is where one of the prettiest discoveries in neuroscience from the last 30 years comes in. Researchers studying rats found brain cells called place cells, which light up depending on exactly where the animal is walking, basically an internal biological GPS. The wild part is they found that during sleep, those same cells fire in the exact same sequence they fired in during the day, just faster, like the rat's brain is replaying the footage of the day on fast forward. This is called memory replay, and it's believed to help consolidate learning, lock in memories, and organize everything that happened while the animal was awake. And there's no real reason to think this is some rat-exclusive thing. A cat's brain has the same memory structure, the hippocampus, and goes through the same sleep stages. So the most widely accepted theory today is that, yes, your cat probably dreams about pieces of the day it just lived through. And think about what a day actually looks like for a house cat. It's not the jungle, it's not stalking a gazelle, it's your living room. It's you filling up the food bowl, it's you petting its head, it's the shadow it chases across the wall, it's the sound of your keys hitting the door. If the brain is running a replay of the day, and the day is full of you, the math kind of adds up on its own. But I don't want to trick you into thinking this is 100% settled science, because there's a deeper layer to this that's even more interesting. Cats aren't visual creatures the way we are. We're so visual that when we think of someone we love, a picture usually pops into our head. A cat experiences the world mostly through smell and sound. Its sense of smell is dozens of times stronger than ours, and it stores scent memory in a way we honestly can't fully picture. That means if a cat's brain really is putting together a dream about you, that dream might not even be a picture of your face. It might be your smell. It might be the specific sound of your voice, or the way your footsteps sound on the floor right before you walk into the room. There's actual research showing cats can pick their owner's voice out from a stranger's voice, and their heart rate literally responds differently, calming down, when they hear your scent or your voice compared to some random person's. That's real physiological response, not some made-up thing a cat lover posts about online. And if a cat's body already relaxes just from sensing you're nearby while it's awake, it's pretty reasonable to think that same recognition circuit lights up during sleep too, all mixed in with whatever it stored away in memory that day. Here's another piece that backs this up, and barely anyone knows about it. Researchers studying kittens noticed that in the first few weeks of life, before they've even fully opened their eyes, kittens spend way more of their sleep proportionally in REM than an adult cat does. And that exact window lines up with the stage where the brain is learning basic motor coordination, how to move a paw, how to balance, how to react to something. The theory is that REM sleep during this stage helps train those motor circuits before the kitten can even practice them for real in the world. It's basically a mental rehearsal, running the program before the body actually has to use it. This backs up the idea even more that sleep, for a cat's brain, isn't just rest. It's construction, it's repetition, and that exact repetition mechanism, once the cat is an adult living a life full of routine with you, ends up recycling the day-to-day stuff during sleep. There's also a strange little detail most people never think about. A house cat is both a predator and potential prey at the same time. It hunts mice, birds, bugs, but depending on where it lives, its own size makes it a possible lunch for something bigger. That pushed the cat brain to evolve in a way where it never fully relaxes, even during sleep. That's why cats sleep in a bunch of short naps spread across the day instead of one giant 8-hour block like we do at night. And that's also why, if you pay attention, even while sleeping, a cat's ear keeps swiveling around, picking up sound from the room, even during the deepest part of sleep. The body shuts off, but the alarm system never fully powers down. So when we talk about cat dreams, we're also talking about a brain that, while it's busy processing good memories like you petting it, might also be processing threats like that vacuum cleaner that turned on out of nowhere last week and traumatized the poor thing for life. Just to put this in perspective, the same methods used to study cat sleep have already been used on dogs, and the results point in the same direction. There's a researcher who jokes that while a dog probably dreams about fetching a ball or chasing the mailman, a cat probably dreams about hunting, eating, and staying somewhere safe. The difference is nobody's ever filmed a dog twitching quietly the way cats do, because dogs are already pretty loud and dramatic while awake, so just imagine them asleep. So let me pull all of this together. We know, from a real experiment, that a cat's brain during REM sleep produces motor behavior that matches hunting and attacking, which shows there's actual mental content happening during sleep. We know that memory structures like the hippocampus replay experiences during sleep in other mammals with brains similar to a cat's. We know cats recognize and physically respond to their owner's presence through scent and voice while they're awake. And we know kittens use REM sleep to train motor circuits in their first few weeks of life. Put those four things together, and the most honest conclusion science can give us right now is this: it's pretty likely your cat dreams about pieces of its life with you, just maybe not in the visual way we picture it, but through scent, sound, and a feeling of safety. There's no study out there that's put a camera inside a cat's head and shown the exact picture of its dream. So anyone who tells you with total confidence your cat dreams exactly this is just making it up. But based on everything neuroscience has found so far, next time you see your cat's paw twitch, its whiskers move, or hear that little sleepy meow in the middle of the night, there's a real chance, backed by actual science, that it's reliving a small piece of the day it spent with you. If you want to know why your cat stares at you while you sleep, the next video explains exactly that.